How did you go from that comfortable position to, you know
Yeah.
what, let's do it? I mean, is there something you learned about yourself in the middle of that process? Because I have no doubt when you started the new role in coaching, it had to be difficult, right? Because anything that you try that's new is a big change. It's kind of a culture shock, is what I would call it, because it's just different. So, I mean, how'd that go when you first started? Did you ever kind of like, poof, I don't know if I should have done this or not, because financially is what we think of, right? Not that the job itself would make you unhappy because you probably enjoyed it because that's who you are.
Yeah.
But were there any concerns like when you first started, and how did you kind of get over that hump?
Yeah. The main concern for me was, am I going to be able to start this in, give it 6 months to a year of and you're right, I have started sales efforts before where I've built up a book on my own. I built up
Hmm.
clients on my own. I knew that 6 months to 12 months was basically head down. You don't have a life, right?
Right.
You're literally
That's
eat,
your make it or
sleep,
break it
breathe.
time.
That is, you're pushing something up a mountain, and you really don't have time to take a breath. You don't have the mental energy to. So I remember prepping my wife for this, and my biggest concern was that I wasn't going to make it through the starting phase, in a healthy way. I knew that I would make it through because I just do. I mean, those of
Right.
us who are entrepreneurs and we've started things, the one thing we are confident in is ourselves. And it, it, we're not 100% sure how it's going to go while we make it, but we know we're going to make it because we just don't ever quit.
Right.
And that was my main concern, is that I was going to have just challenge relationship with my wife challenges, parent fatherhood challenges. I wasn't really worried about money challenges. I knew that would work itself out eventually. Um, the I remember a time when I got home, and um, I remember looking at my wife and saying, "Hey, thank you for being willing to let every single ounce of my mental energy go to this. It won't be like this forever,
Yeah.
um, but it does have to be like this for now." Now, here's where, when you find something that really resonates with who you are, when you can find ways to, in the trenches, when you're building your own, when you're getting rejected, I knew that the growth I was going to have was going to help me be a better dad. I knew that that was going to help me be, um, a better husband. And when when I had a little bit of a rough patch, it was September of 2020. I mean, who didn't have a rough patch in 2020, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
My rough, I was doing well. I actually won Rookie of the Year, and with our company, and I was doing just fine. Um, my um, I had a moment with my wife where we were just getting into a lot of fights with each other. And so that fear I had of not making it through that startup time without some relational challenges, it was starting to come true. And trying to figure out how vulnerable to get.
Well, I don't know. It depends how many people watch this video. How
Um, I had a big blowout fight with my wife, and we actually sought counselors after this. And in the midst of it, she looked at me and said, "You have no accountability around your thoughts," because I was resenting her. I was holding things against her.
right.
Those fears that you were talking about, what was it challenging? Those were coming true. And all I can say, Adam, is the she was right. I was I was holding a lot in. The process of putting myself through that fire again after I had drifted caused all those things that I had drifted from to rush to the surface all at once.
Yeah. When things start going south on us professionally, a lot of times we do take it out on people at home, or we just kind of change.
Mhm.
And, I've done the same thing, right? I don't know if it was, obviously you can't compare in severity between one person's relationship and another person's relationship, but I did the same thing. And that's actually why I kind of seeked out you. Well,
Yeah.
let's take that back. You sought me out for
Let
6 months,
I
however
was actually
long.
about to say, when you said what was the
Yeah,
challenging part, I should have
yeah.
said talking to Adam.
Yeah,
That was
that's a
a good
challenge,
18 month.
right? Getting me on board. But that's a big thing of it. It's not just professional. So I kind of want to
Yeah.
go into this
Yeah.
a little bit. You've changed a ton, obviously,
Yeah.
right? You've realized, hey, it was a challenge. It's creating issues. I have to change and control what I can control, and it needs to be a different atmosphere at home. So what I want to go into is your coaching business and how you can help people. So
Yeah.
one thing I want to talk about is if someone is going into sales, do you have any advice? Because you've experienced, hey, I've started from scratch, I've created this business, here are my ups and downs. Do you have any advice saying, hey, if you're going into sales, this is really what you need to be prepared for? And give any kind of advice on that at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah. I'd love to. Um, when you're going into sales, the mentality that I have found to serve me the best is to understand sales as helping people make decisions that's best for them. And in that sentence, we have the word decisions, which means we're taking action and moving from one place to another. When people say that sales is a transference of emotion, a lot of people think that that means that the salesperson transfers his emotion of passion for that product to this client. It really doesn't. I mean, it maybe a little bit, but mostly what it means it's that prospect's, that person's transference of their own emotion from where they don't want to be into where they do. That's the transference of emotion. It's the process that person goes through to choose and really dive into something that they know will be better for them. And helping people make decisions that's best for them also insinuates that you have to listen. You have to learn and understand. And so when you think about what advice would I have, I would say help people make decisions that's best for them and focus on the three things you can control, which is your activity. And so, number one, just do a dang ton of activity. I mean, the phrase we always used to say in books is the answer lies behind the next door. It's really funny. It's like one time I was selling books, and they teach you when a dog comes at you to take your bag and just put it in front of your shins. Just put it like hold it and just stand behind your cage,
Like,
and that
eat the
will
bag, not my
just eat
legs.
the bag, right? Right.
Right.
And that'll usually work. And there was this tiny, it's not the big ones, the big dogs, they are fine. It's those little like
Yeah, the little
and
Chihuahua ankle
oh my gosh,
biters.
this little dude came and nipped and started bleeding, and the mom was like, "Get out of here!" And I was like, "Okay, I gotta go." And I'm like, "I'm bleeding." And I remember my sales manager going, "Hey, the answer lies behind the next door." So I just went to the next door, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you're bleeding. Do you need a band-aid?" I'm like, "Great, that would be awesome."
Did you
Uh,
sell him something?
sure enough, I don't remember actually. I probably not.
Yeah.
Probably just got
Should have turned
bandaged.
trauma into sale, right?
And so the answer lies behind the next door. And if the answer is get a band-aid, that like guys, here's the reality. You're in the people business. You're selling stuff. You're helping people make decisions best for them. My son asked me when he was 5, he said, "Dad, what do you do for a living?" I said, "I sell stuff." He said, "What do you sell?" I said, "Just stuff I believe in. That's what I sell. Stuff I believe in." So guys, if you believe in it, help people make decisions that's best for them by listening and learning. But truth is, you just gotta dang talk to a ton of people because sometimes it might be for them, it might not. Who cares who's next? We're there to serve people, and you can't do that by just focusing on one isolated event. Oh, what did I do wrong? You know what you did wrong is you didn't move on to who's next. That's
Right.
it. Just fill the dang funnel with a ton of opportunities. And the people that really should be in your life, like the Adam Roses of the world, who just are awesome humans and they have strong character and they just those you will find them. You will, but not not if you're uh worked up on one isolated thing without finding the next thing.
Right. Right. Because we can always dwell on what went wrong.
Totally.
Always. Right. And because even me, I take things personal because I do pour a lot of myself into every transaction. And I'm not a transactional person. I'm a people person, right? I want every person to be happy. I want everything to go well. But the reality is they don't always go well and it doesn't always go perfect. And it's just those things that you can't control. So it's almost like being a quarterback in the NFL. You throw a pick, don't worry about it. You got to go out the next series and you still got to play, right? It's the same thing. So you were going to mention three things. That was one. Do you
Yeah.
remember the other two? Did we get
Oh,
you off
I was
topic?
actually going to
Okay.
see if you remember the other two.
I don't remember, dude. I'm sitting here and just listening. All right, you hit me.
So, okay. So number two is your schedule,
Yep.
the activity, and we call this income producing activity, but in sales, the stuff that you got to do to grow, which is just talk to more humans, that's got to go in your schedule, right? And we can totally get bogged down in the important, like, oh, if I don't put this in, if I don't close this contract, if I don't write this up, if I don't get this, of course, those are important, but the growth activity has to be the priority
Right.
because if you're not growing, you are dying, to quote my favorite movie of all time and Big Tom Callahan. So the schedule comes second because if you want to achieve stuff you never thought possible, you got to do stuff you never thought possible, which means you have to protect it in your schedule.
Are you
And
Tommy Boy quoting?
right, who can make it through conversation about sales without quoting Tommy Boy?
That's right.
I don't
I
know if
I
you.
can't say what I was gonna say. I love it when Chris Farley's selling. He's acting if it's guaranteed or not. He goes,
Yeah,
listen, can take a in a bag and mark it
market
guaranteed.
guaranteed.
I've got spare time.
Oh, my little naughty.
Yeah.
Oh, you're naughty. Yeah, and that's probably I was gonna mention a third one, but now I'm gonna switch it to memorize Tommy Boy.
Yeah,
That's
it's good. Very good.
but the final thing is just attitude. An attitude and a mentality that you attack the day with will determine your outcome. You know, most people stop right at that and they just say, okay, have a good attitude. And yes, you do. However, there are specific attitudes and mentalities that are going to serve you best. And we can often find out what they are by catching ourselves in what we call stinking thinking. You can catch yourself in thoughts that don't serve you and ask yourself, okay, what are the thoughts and mentalities that are going to serve me? Right. Just the best one is a scarcity mindset. We talked about activity, having an abundancy of an activity. Well,
Mhm.
the scarcity mindset can kick in when we didn't load that funnel with as much as we possibly could because our work ethic wasn't there. And so we have a scarcity mindset and we think, oh, I got to hold on to this one deal. I got to babysit this one. Oh, I got to bring this to the finish line. Oh, but if it doesn't, then that's a lot of money. Well, how about the money that you left on the table by not prospecting? How about the money you left on the table by not having an abundancy mentality? And that's the attitude that is going to serve you best. So those are the three: activity, schedule, and attitude, and go serve people by helping them make decisions that's best for them.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything else you want to cover before I ask my last question on that
Um,
topic?
oh, on that topic, no,
Yeah.
no,
Good. All
no,
right.
that's good. That's it. Let's leave it
S-
simple.
So, every time I talk to you, we talk twice a month. I'm always re-energized. You kind of get in those meetings. It's like kind of just spitballing ideas and things that you
Yeah,
need to do, and just re-energizes you. And your business is coaching, but you love doing it. That's why I like working with you so much. It doesn't
right,
seem like a job at all to
right.
you. It's kind of
It's
it's
just
like your
awesome.
lifestyle. You just like helping people, and it's
Totally.
great. So on this topic on helping people, what is the best way or to contact you? So if someone's watching this right now and they're like, I should look into this, I really should. What's the best way to get a hold of you? Do we want to email, phone call? Because your schedule, like you said, you fill it. You are constantly busy. And so contacting you, we don't want to interrupt appointments or anything like that. Is email best to communicate with you?
Text probably is the
Text.
absolute
All right.
best.
So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in all your information and data about Southwestern Consulting and your information just in case someone wants to reach out and talk about it. So if someone's fearful, because everybody's always scared of something new, just normal. It's human nature,
Totally.
right? You got to get
Absolutely.
past it. Uh, if someone reached out to you but they're not sure what they're going to expect, what does that conversation look like?
I
Like
am,
your
yeah,
first
I'm
consult,
really,
like, hey, here's what we do.
Very glad that you asked that because it gives me an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. One, answer your question, and then also I'll just add on to the sales. What would a salesperson want to know? I'll add on to that question.
Yeah.
So here is how that conversation is going to go. Um, you know, I will basically just listen throughout the entire opening of us chatting. I will just listen and the transparency that you're going to hear from me. In our creed, we every meeting at Southwestern, one of the reasons I love who we are is we read our creed, and in our creed it says we're practitioners of everything we preach. And one of the things that I'm committed to practicing is that I will always serve first selflessly. I'll always provide an environment where somebody feels free to make decisions that's best for them. And so I will always let them know this might be a fit for you. It might not be a fit for you, but figuring that out together and giving you the space, giving you the ability to see why Adam Rose says coaching is awesome, having you get to see and experience why it could be awesome for you, that's my job. That is actually my only job. And you then get to make the decision if it's right for you. And the secret sauce there is you're actually making decisions every step of the way in coaching, right, Adam? You're choosing to decide on being your best self. So I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm here to provide an environment where they can make decisions that's best for them. So when they do reach out, we just over text, we'll schedule a quick 20, 15 minutes to chat. That's just me listening and learning, but committing to giving you a space where you could choose for yourself. And then from there, we do a deeper dive. And that deeper dive is where you actually get to determine whether it is going to be a fit for you or not. And you know what? That deeper dive, the other thing I commit to, in addition to giving people the space to decide, is that no matter what you decide, it's going to be good use of time. You're going to have realizations you didn't have before. You'll probably have some takeaways you can implement that you didn't have before. And thirdly, you'll probably have a coach you didn't have before. And if you don't, that's okay too. We'll still be friends. And if you do, then I'm just so fired up for a magical journey that's going to transform your life. So that's how the conversation goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I was hesitant, in 2020, 2021, those are the biggest production years I think anybody in our industry has ever seen before. And I was at a peak. And when I'm coming down off that peak, which was expected, it's still a tough pill to swallow, right?
Right.
You can only control what you can control. I can't control how many houses are on the market. I can only control how many people I can talk to get into the market to purchase a home in my business.
Right.
So, and I kind of wanted to get back to how I started, right? Like we talked about earlier, you first jump into the industry, you're so organized, you've got these processes and these systems, and you're doing them every day, and you're building up a clientele. And then you get to this point where I don't think I could do any better than I'm doing right now. And we kind of just start to fall back, right? And that's kind of what was happening to me. And that's why I jumped in to coaching. I thought that there was nothing else for me to learn at first, and I've done it all. What am I going to do now? Right. And it was one of the best decisions I made professionally. And I hope other people can see that too. And they can really help grow their own business and really just grow themselves. Right.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, because it's not just about business, but how you're handling yourself outside of business as well. It's a whole mentality thing. So, Aaron, thank you very much for coming on the show. I hope you get a ton of phone calls from this.
Yeah.
But and set up workshops and stuff, guys. If you are watching this, if you're in a real estate office, insurance office, Aaron does consults. He'll do a whole team call with everybody on it to kind of explain how the process works, what he does for a living, how he can help you, and like he said, he will let you decide if this is something that you want to jump into.
Yeah.
Aaron, any final thoughts before I do my signature sign off, which is not very signature?
Well, one final thought is that you ended with, the growth you can see not just in your business but in yourself. That is one of the biggest transformations that happened with me and happens with the people that end up sticking around coaching for years and years and years is they realize that the actual result that they really are looking for is the result of who they're becoming.
Yep, yep.
And I just appreciate you. I appreciate who you are and your constant desire to grow, but also your just commitment to being a servant to others. So thanks,
Thank you,
dude.
Aaron. Thank you. All right, crew, that's it this week. Remember, subscribe on YouTube. Aaron, I think you need to do that too if you haven't done so already. And check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we'll see you guys next week.